So while talking about the difference between these in detail, okay, we can see like in short, not say to letter to the editor exactly is written to when you want to shape public opinion. Okay, uh, and then it's written to tell others how you feel about people in the society. Not only that, programs or ideas, okay, and just information give to be given to the public on a certain issues that has been noticed or seen, realized in the society which are going on. Next is a voice the opinion of the people and provide to them a platform for a debate or discussion on certain issues. Okay? And the last we can say raise issues of social, political, and economic interest and generally center around the public reaction. But while talking about the complaint later, we can see this letter is written to address any type of wrongdoing, right? Moreover, it is also written to address any type of wrongdoing in the society, like offense, we can say, grievance, etc. Next, resentment arising out of a product or service, okay, and many others too, and describes the damage, errors, or mistakes that happened, and it is a kind of claim for the compensation also through this formal letter. And finally, we can just write a complaint later to raise your concern about unfair things and seek a productive outcome. So, some of the guidelines that I have just shared here, I would like to share with you while writing a letter to the editor, which may help you in days to come, so that you feel comfortable to write the formal letter to the editor. So all the students, so they have idea generally, okay, about the guidelines. First of all, sender's address, and then date. So it will be very easy for you, okay, if you cast them. Receiver's address. Then after info number salutation, and 5 number state the argument you are responding to. 6 number state your position, and then provide evidence, and then after say what should be done, okay, and in 9 number have a simple closing, and finally this is the final thing to understand while writing a letter, complementary closure. So I would like to share some of the ideas here, where to write and what kind of things are to be written, okay, one after another here in sequence. Then after signature we can say. So sender's address, like Kirtipur, Kathmandu, or you also can write Kirtipur 9 Kathmandu. Okay, better to mention comma there in between, and then after you can write date that can be written in this way, like 1st May 2020, May 1st or May 1, comma 2020, or in Nepali date 19 Baisakh 2077. Okay. One important thing that is to be noticed here by all the students, that when you mention the date beginning with 1st May, okay, it's not necessary to 8 comma there in between. But when you begin with the month first, like May and 1st, May 1, May 2, something like that, then it's far better to put comma in between the numbers there. Right? Here we can see 1 and then 2020. So the next one is receiver's address. So while writing about the receiver's address, it's far better to write the post. Okay, generally we write the editor. We don't know who that person is. Okay, just we write the post here, and then after name and address of the newspaper. For instance, we can see the editor and the Himalayan Times, name of the newspaper, and then the address is Tenkone, Kathmandu. Then after salutation, okay, while writing salutation here, we can begin with dear sir or sir, okay, or dear madam or madam only. Okay, but if NSG means here, if let's say gender is not specific, okay, not clear, then it's far better to write just short. Okay, and then after state the argument you are responding to. So here you can begin with like, I would be grateful if you would allow little space. Okay, in your very popular newspaper, okay, worldwide known newspaper we can say, or nationwide popular newspaper, in order to draw the attention of the concerned authority about blah blah, like the problem that you state. Okay, and after that you need to just state your position, uh, and on the issue, and why you feel so a certain way, but it should be mentioned, it should be stated very clearly, the issue, why you feel that way, why you feel so. Okay, then after provide the evidence to back up your position on issue with some facts. Okay, that may be events or any statistics or data or political events that recently has occurred or happening at the present time. Okay? Then after say what should be done, what can be done to address the issue, and tell them to do something, whether it is to call their local leader or become volunteer in their communities. Then after, have a simple closing. Okay? So while doing so, far better to request them to do something or expect something, or you have a kind of hope to happen something, or something to be done by the concerned authority, and you finally thank them. Okay, writing thank you. Then after the complementary clause, here you can begin in two ways, like yours faithfully or yours sincerely. Some students they find a bit difficult to show the difference between this, like yours faithfully, faithfully or sincere. What's the difference? So I'd like to clarify here to all dear listeners that faithfully can be written. Yes, faithfully can be written when, let's say, the salutation is done with the dear sir or dear madam formally. Okay, but if you know the post, or if you know the person whom you are going to address, okay, right? In such condition, you can write yours sincerely. You can just write sincerely, like if you have begun salutation with the dear Thapa, dear Rai, dear Singh, dear Sestro, etc. And finally, the signature, signature and writing the name. Okay, so you must have a clear idea about that. Sign can be done. Then just below the sign, you can write your full name. Okay, and if possible, you can write concerned citizen. Okay, in the bracket down while writing the let's say letter to the editor. But one important thing that you need to note down is sometimes the student they ask, the difference between yours and your apostrophe s. So here, yours you can write to with adverb, for example, sincerely, and with apostrophe, your apostrophe s. Okay, yours you can write with the noun like sincere, yours love, okay, and yours friend, okay, or yours any yours heart, something like that. All right. So while writing the letter to the editor, this format is suitable, but it has been taken as the old-fashioned, we can say traditional, and generally British follows this British style. It is said, okay. So in this format, the address of the senders, similarly date, etc., are written on the right hand side at the top. Okay, and position, designation, and then the name of the office, then our address of the office, salutation. Okay, and the body of the letter can be written in many paragraphs according to the, let's say, condition, according to the issue that you state in the body part. And then after closing, right, and finally you find the complementary clause, formal clause, with the signature and the name, right? For instance, we can see one example: write a letter to the editor of the Himalayan Times complaining about the shortage of water in your village or locality. In such, let's say, question, we can write like this. Here we can see the address: Batase 2, Sindhupal Chowk, 28 April 2019. And here is the post editor, and the Himalayan Times, Kathmandu, Nepal, and this is salutation. But one very important thing, dear students, at present in the modern type of letter to the editor, so we don't put comma. Okay, here like the editor or and the dear sir, right? Without putting comma, we mention this, and we don't see the gap here, but it's far better to put the gap here. But in let's say present context, like following the American style, we say modern style, okay, there is a gap between this, let's say salutation, name and address for the newspaper or the post at the top. And in each paragraph, there is a gap till the is faithfully yours, right? So this is the traditional. So it depends upon you if you desire to write in this format, or I recommend you to the follow, let's say, this, okay, everything to the left side, okay, from top to bottom. So sender's address to the left at the top, okay, on the top, and then date, the poster designation or name of the newspaper, address, and salutation here, and you can state the argument you are responding to here down the first paragraph. Then in the second paragraph you can provide the evidence, and moreover if you want to add to the evidences you can write in the next paragraph, and what should be done in the final paragraph, okay, including the let's say conclusion and simple closing with the request, that is also known as a conclusion, and complementary closure here you can see, and then after signature and name, and in this way you can write finally in the bracket concerned citizen of the society, okay. It's not necessary if you do not write also. That's why you need to understand these red arrows where they are to be placed, okay. So one after another, my all students they got the clear idea about the format. This is the modern type of letter writing to the editor. So this you can see at the body part includes the statement of the argument you are responding to simple closing with the request or conclusion. This is the body part. Okay. Your conclusion I have attached there. You can write separately also, right? Regarding this writing conclusion. So you can sort out, or you can just get help from this format, dear students. That may be helpful for you. Now, based on this, we can go to write, let's say, the example of writing a letter to the editor. Is we have already got the idea at the top to the left side, according to the modern type of letter writing. So, Kirtipur Kathmandu, then one gap we can see, and then after 1 May 2020, no comma, and then after one gap, again the editor. This is the post, or we don't know whether the editor is very friendly to us or not. So it's not clear. So we mentioned editor and the name of the let's say newspaper, and then the address of that newspaper, and again there is gap, then after only you can begin your salutation, dear sir, but we don't put comma here, okay, or everywhere in the modern type of modern style, okay. So there is a gap between the first statement or the first sentence or first paragraph and salutation. So we can begin like I would be grateful if you would allow little space in your widely circulated national newspaper in order to draw the attention of the concerned authority about the this is the problem shortage of drinking water in our let's say locality. Okay, so there again gap. This is the first paragraph, and it is the statement of the problem that we have been facing. It's a kind of introductory part of the body, we can say, and then after we state the problem that we have been facing in our community. So the scarcity of water is a regular phenomenon of our locality, and now problem. What are the problem? The taps remain dry during summer. However, we have to pay the money in all those seasons. The water comes in the tap once a week. Sometimes the dirty water comes from the tap. Right? People have to walk up at especially odd hour to draw the water. Okay, and there is often a dispute among people at the public taps who should first draw a pail of water. Therefore, we are likely to face other problems too, owing to the scarcity of water, like sanitation and cooking. These are the problems that I have stated, and we can just provide more evidences. Okay, to back up the issue or back up the problem there. Okay? People have given notice to the Office of Drinking Water Corporation, but the concerned people are not, acting timely to find the permanent solution to the problem. And the officials in the office don't his word. Let's say heirs to the problem, maybe the mayor or maybe the officer available there, okay, in the office of this drinking water corporation, that may be of electricity also if we talk about electricity. Okay, and I think the effective plan and policies should be adopted to solve the problem. Okay, such as some of the programs like a public awareness program should be launched for water conservation. Okay, what is to be done then, what we want, okay, we need to suggest also in this paragraph, right? Then after we can request there can be the gap, one line gap, okay, between this I request to the concerned authority and the previous paragraph here, right? So I request to the concerned authority to take necessary steps to lessen the plight of the people of this locality. So then after we end with thank you and let's say a complimentary closing, yours faithfully, because here faithfully we have written since we have begun with the dear sir. Okay, if we begin with dear sir, formally dear madam, okay, we exactly we use yours faithfully, right? Then after signature and your name you can write it down, right? So in this way, what we can see is the sender's address at the top, date, post designation or name of the newspaper here, and then the address, salutation we can see, and then state the argument we are responding to here, and then provide evidence here, and then second next paragraph additional evidence, and what should be done has been explained there in this paragraph, and simple closing with request, okay, or conclusion. Here we find, right, complementary closure and signature and name. So in this way the arrows that have been they are being displayed here will show the part of this writing later to the editor. I think the students you understood about writing a letter to the editor here, and this can be helpful for you. Now, if time favors, we can go to the next complaint letter. Then last time, we have already got the idea about the complaint letter, what kind of letter it is, and why it is read. However, we can have a glance at it again. In order to address any type of wrongdoing, we write a complaint letter, right? And or offense in the society, offense, an illegal act. We call it aparad in Nepali, and the grievance calls for complaint, especially unfair treatment. We can say any kind of, let's say, gunaso in Nepali, right? We have in the society. We write this complaint letter. Moreover, we write the complaint letter since we are in a way, having been treated unfairly, and then we have a kind of a bitter, indignation, okay, or arising out of a product or service, etc. So we write this to describe the damage, errors, or mistakes happened in the society, right? That we have noticed and we have been facing the problem because of that. And if we have been cheated or we have been in loss, then we can write, we can complain, okay, and then just we can claim for the compensation also through this letter. And finally, this letter is written to raise, our concerns, let's say, about unfair things, and then seek a productive outcome in the society, right? So, based on this, we can see the, let's say, the guidelines for writing complaint letter, but it's a bit different from writing a letter to the editor, dear students. Okay? While talking about the complaint letter, the guidelines, the format is almost same, but a little bit different that we have found here is that, like, sender address same, or date same, and salutation, okay, same. There is what is missing here, we can see between date and salutation. In letter to the editor, after date there was like a post to the editor, and then the name of the newspaper, address, okay, etc. But we don't find this one here directly after mentioning the address and date. We begin with salutation. Then after, very important thing that you need to find that is different from the let's say letter to the editor is introduction, okay, and then after, details of the complaint and suggestions and solutions, finally conclusion and expectation, and then complementary closure and signature. This is the format of writing complaint letter. That's why, no, not only contextually it is different, but also based on the format, it is different from the letter to the editor. So let's see, we have already got the idea. Yes, senders address Kirtipur, Kathmandu, or in this way we can write, and then after date, yes, and then salutation, we can begin like this, right? And then now introduction. Real salutation as it is, that we have already discussed. Now, while talking about introduction of this complaint later in the paragraph, first paragraph, let's say, of the body, so introduce your complaint or the problem, okay, that you have been facing in the society, and write what you want, right? And you can begin like, and I am writing to complain about the problem, blah blah blah, okay, like scarcity of water or the road, damaged road, something like that, right? Or you can begin with, I am unhappy with the quality of service, okay, that you have provided, right? Or the thing that I purchased recently from your shop, something like that. You can begin in this way, in introductory part. Or you can begin with, I wish to express my dissatisfaction with the television that I have recently bought from your, let's say, dealer, okay, etc. Etc. You can, any expression can be used here to begin your introduction. Then comes the detail of a complaint, right? While talking about the complaint, it should be written in stated very clearly in detail. For that, you need to describe the problem that you have been facing and outcome you want. Yes, later. And you need to include key dates, such as when you purchased the goods or service and when the problem occurred, right? But one thing you need to understand here, we need to have some receipt or any proof, okay, that we have, like a bill and etc., okay, provided by the seller or the company. And we need to identify what action you have taken or we have taken, to fix the problem, and then what we will do if we and the seller or service provider, okay, cannot resolve the problem. Then you need to explain, or we need to describe complaint in detail. And then after let's say complaining, after writing describing the problem of the complaint, mentioning the detail of the complaint, we need to suggest, and then provide some suggestions and then solution also. Okay, like we can ask for response within a reasonable time, on time. Okay, to be solved, right, or to be replaced or whatever else, right. Suggestion can be given or mentioned what we want. Then after conclusion and expectation, like state what you want to be done, what you want to be done. All right, you need to just conclude writing your closing expression. Like if you have any question, do not hesitate to ask me, or you can contact me on you can give your phone number, cell number, or office number, something like that. And I look forward to hearing from you. Also, can be another sentence to add there in place of if you have any question. Okay, and then after complementary closure and signature. That is as usual that we have discussed earlier, like yours faithfully and yours sincerely. So in not said, what we not said we can not sell we can find one very important thing that we need to organize our ideas. Okay, while writing the complaint letter. So if you remember these things, then I think it will be easy for you. Like first of all about the problem. Complaint letter is about the problem. Okay, and then to what happened. Yes, and then to when it happened. Similarly, how or why it happened. Okay, and then after how it has affected you, and then what you want to be done. Okay, and these things are very important for you to just write the complaint later. So organize your ideas first, and then just follow this. Yes, based on this, I think we can go to the example also, right? If the time favors and is to come. Right? So thank you very much, dear students. We will meet on the next day again, as scheduled. Okay.